in this country, and who knows, hey, I could get down with a world that had checks and balances, that had a system governed for and by the people. That'd be great. But that's not what the New World Order system is. We're going to come back. We're going to take calls from Mike, Ernie, Irene, and more. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, 888-201-2244.
The time is nigh, the day is dark, there's only one solution, 'cause I'm a one-man revolution.
Yeah, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, and we want to know, what is the biggest story of 2009? We've had the MIAC report, we've had Hardin, Montana come up, we've had the bill that will regulate what you can have according to your organic gardens. We've done some shows on how they really do want to shut down the food we're allowed to eat as they pump mercury into the water supply, as they pump fluoride into the water supply, as they try to inject you with squalene and nightmares, folks. That is a real issue. I'm surprised nobody's taken on the H1N1 thing. Now, H1N1 was a pretty big story. ClimateGate has been mentioned and thoroughly went over. If that's not about a new world order, I'm actually an animated bunny. Of course it's about a new world order. They openly said it. It was headlines everywhere. Headlines everywhere. All right, let's continue with the callers. Let's go to Mike in Maryland. Mike, you're on the line.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. It's great to have Alex Jones back, and you're doing a great job of hosting the show. Before I mention what I think is the biggest story, can I bring up something to your attention?
Sure.
I ran across. I was watching Hulu.com. I'm not promoting that, by the way, but I was watching an SNL rerun, which sucked, but they had this ad that grabbed my attention. Mm-hmm. And it was put out by Coca-Cola, but there's something more involved. The website is, and I'm not promoting anything, don't get me wrong, but it's called Facial Profiler. And basically, it's this promotional thing where you send your picture, your photograph on Facebook, and then they try to find your quote-unquote twin in another city or another country, another continent. And it all sounds like good, harmless fun, but then you realize, gee, this sounds like data marketing.
No, they're databasing you. Basically, they're taking your biometric scan of your face, they're profiling you, and then they're making it a big fun game as if it's part of a social network where, oh, look, such and such looks just like you. He's in Antarctica. Now they have your biometric facial information. A lot of people are going to be giving that up when Project Natal debuts on the Microsoft Xbox 360, but a lot of people have already given up on systems like the PlayStation 3. On the PlayStation 2, they actually introduced just a small camera where you could take a snapshot of your face and then put it on a Tony Hawk type character. And this is getting more and more sophisticated. With Project Natal, it can take a full body scan of you. It can then project that image on the television. You can go to Amazon.com and something via the Jetsons / Minority Report where you wheel through the clothes and try them on visually in front of you. A model of your body is trying on the clothes you're going to buy. So we really are progressing towards this command and control cashless society grid in which they track, trace, and database everything we do through biometrics. All right, Mike, what's the biggest story of 2009?
You know, it's a toss-up possibly between the death care bill and maybe the global warming scam. The Senate passing of the health care bill will probably have a more immediate impact on me. So that's probably the biggest story for me personally because and I am not going to let them loot my paycheck. I mean, I'm not going along with this. That's my line. You know, you hear Joyce Riley talk about your line in the sand. That's my line in the sand. It's not happening. Mike Meat Dog Cunningham is not going to let them dictate to me the type of health care I'm going to get.
All right, my man. Hey, I thank you so much for the call. On the other side of this, we're going to continue with your phone calls, but we're also going to play this clip of Sean Hannity, again, saying that if you support Ron Paul, you're a nut, you need to be dealt with, you're bad, you're associated with terrorism, and he's done this in the past, but he continues with the rhetoric. And the caller into his show is actually pretty spot on. He's like, Sean, you're part of the military-industrial complex. You're part of this death machine. So we're going to play that coming up. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. Later on in the program, we're going to go over Kurt Haskell of Newport, Michigan's account of what went down on this Christmas flight, this supposed Nigerian terrorist who had all the earmarks of not supposed to be on the plane in the first place. When your daddy, who is a prominent banker and elitist in Nigeria, contacts the FBI and says that his son is a radical and may do something violent, how is he getting on a plane, quote unquote, without a passport, with the aid of a sharp-dressed man? And if you're on prisonplanet.tv, Kurt Haskell showed these people at mlive.com, I guess it's a local Michigan media station, his boarding pass. And this is legitimate. No one in the mainstream media is picking up on this story. They're all just saying, we need secondary screening. We need more security. We need more security. Well, this guy shouldn't have gone on the plane in the first place. We're going to go into that in depth later in the program. But right now, before I go to Ernie and Irene, I want to play this clip of Lord Hannity. He's our Lord and Savior, Shawnee Hannity, again attacking Ron Paul supporters as extremists and denying his role in the military-industrial complex and saying because of the military-industrial complex, we have freedom of speech in this country. No, we have freedom of speech in this country because of the Revolutionary War and the Constitution and Bill of Rights, sir. And really because it is an inherent human right to have freedom of speech. You know what those are? Inherent human rights. Government does not grant them to me. They are inherent. They are given out of my creation as a human being. So let's play this clip of Hannity, just totally insane.
It may be merely symbolic, but it's a pretty good idea. Bill has now been introduced into Congress, and every once in a while, I like to give Congress praise when it's due. A Republican and Democrat have put forward legislation that would rescind the automatic pay increase lawmakers are slated to receive in 2011. Ron Paul, yes, and by the way, some of Ron Paul's followers are nuts, but Ron Paul, I like him a lot. I like him a lot of times. We got George in Chicago, WLS. George, hi.
Hi, Sean. You know, maybe President Obama should stuff you into a bunker and call you an enemy combatant. First off, if Khalid Sheikh Mohammed doesn't get his rights, then you're going to lose yours, Sean. And think about it. If he's going to
Khalid Sheikh Mohammed is not a citizen. He's at war with the United States by his own admission. He plotted one of the worst attacks by his own admission. And I happen to be an American citizen, and I'm not at war with my country. So, you know what? I deserve civilian rights. I deserve Miranda rights. I deserve constitutional rights. He doesn't.
Okay, well, here's the problem with that, Sean. If you concede that the federal government can hold whomever they want, then you're conceding that President Obama can hold you and Levin and throw you guys in a bunker and call you enemy combatants.
Are we going to be held in the same bunker, or do I get my own private bunker?
I don't know, but you should check out Sibel Edmonds, who that guy was just talking
Listen, let me just tell you right now, the Supreme Court has ruled in favor of military tribunals. Congress has acted on the issue of military tribunals. We have precedents going back. Excuse me.
Government in the world,
we have precedents going back to the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and this is the only time.
You're a violent imperialist.
I'm a violent. Why? What's violent about me?
Because you love death, destruction, and murder. You're a spokesman for the merchants of death, Sean Hannity. The military-industrial complex owns you. It's time to wake up.
What is the military? What is the military-industrial complex?
Raytheon, GE. I could go on and on with all the Northrop Grumman. I mean, you could go on and on. You act like like the Pentagon isn't the biggest socialist part of our government,
and
Sean.
They own me. Is that what you're saying?
You're a spokesman for the merchants of death.
I'm a spokesman for the merchants of death. And what do you suggest that we do? Do we not have a national defense?
I say we bring all our troops on. We haven't had a defense.
I didn't ask you that. I asked if we should have a national defense. Should we have an Army, a Navy, and Air Force, Marines? Do you think we should have it?
Certainly, but they shouldn't be controlling our government the way they do now.
Should they have for example, in the Navy, we need battleships, and then we need the arms that our armed forces use, correct? And
possibly,
we use
I didn't know, but with the
possibly or yes, possibly, or do we need these things?
We do, but we could be a lot safer without the way things are now. Because the way things are now are just out of control.
Military,
big
industrial,
corporate welfare.
Big corporate welfare. Go ahead.
It is.
You're
do
walking.
you think Raytheon is free? Do you think those guys don't get massive tax benefits?
I think the fact that we have great companies that create great defense weapons that keep us safe is fantastic. Yeah, I think it's wonderful. So I'm part of the industrial military complex that you discuss, because I believe in security and safety and liberty and freedom and everything else that is associated with it. Folks, Ron Paul for president. Trust me, this is part of what you get. And I like Ron Paul. And Ron Paul's right on a few things. But he's not right. Some of his followers are nuts. Yes, that'll get a lot of play. Folks, this is where my buddy Neil Bortz gets into trouble. Neil Bortz says he's for national defense and he is for the war on terror, and he's excoriated by members of the Libertarian Party when he single-handedly has done more to advance libertarianism for the last 30 years than anybody I know.
Total lie.